Hey everyone, this is Terry. Welcome back to another episode of World of Warships Blitz. Today we'll be looking at the Yubari, the Japanese Tier 4 light cruiser, and she's one of my favorite ships. And I probably could say she's one of, in my opinion, the most overpowered ships in the game. And I'm going to tell you why I think so. So let's take a closer look and see what she can do. She's a light cruiser, she's Japanese, so she's going to be fast and she has torpedoes. And the bad things first, she doesn't have any armor whatsoever. Now, this is not uncommon for light cruisers, especially in lower tiers. If you you're shot at by anything, you get very easy citadels, and you don't have much health to start with. She's basically a large destroyer. That's how you should play light cruisers in any way. But she's got a lot of more things going for her. So, for example, the speed. She can do almost 35 knots out of the box. Plus, she actually has the engine accelerator consumable at tier 4, which means she can, with her relative captain skills, make an enormous dash in the beginning of the game. Also, she has a turn time of 4 seconds. That's almost as good as an American destroyer. She's extremely nimble and maneuverable. And you can, with this speed setup, you can get in and out of problems very, very quickly. In terms of guns, she's got a standard set pretty much. She has 2 twin turrets and 2 single turrets, 140mm guns. They're really nice 140mm. I like them very much. She's got a 7.5 second reload and does between 400 and 500 damage with the high explosive and the armor piercing. So 6 guns, not bad for a light cruiser at that tier. And I've got the turret traverse speed, which is always the problem of the Japanese cruisers, up to almost 12 degrees per second. So given how nimble the ship is and how much you have to drive around in circles with it, I figured that'd be a good change. Now, one thing that's very special here is the set of torpedoes. She only has 4 of them. They can fire either side because they're center mounted. But they are 600mm torpedoes that you normally just started seeing at much higher tiers. So they do almost 4,000 damage. She's got a very fast reload with 42 seconds. And she has got an almost 9km torpedo range. This is a very, very long range for these torpedoes. And if you imagine the amount of damage you can do with these, and you're in a tier 4 ship, right? You're going to see tier 3 ships. The amount of damage you can do with these is devastating. So that aside, she also has a relatively good anti-aircraft armament for this tier. That's probably down to the fact that the original Yubari was refitted later on as an anti-aircraft cruiser. So we get not a great, but a decent anti-air, plus we actually get the air defense alert consumable with this ship as well. And lastly, she has just under 6km surface detection range. Now let that sink in, right? You've got a cruiser, which is basically at this stage a large destroyer. She's got decent guns, she's fast, she's extremely maneuverable, and you can stealth fire torpedoes. Your torpedoes have an almost 9km range. You have a 6km range surface detection rate. You can stealth fire torpedoes if you want, or just stop shooting your guns and you drop off the detection. And with your speed, you can. There are very few ships in this game that can actually catch up with you at tier 4. Let's have a quick look in comparison at the tier 4 cruiser in the Japanese tech tree. That would be the Kuma. And the Kuma is relatively similar to her in many regards. She also has no armor to speak of. She's also relatively fast with 33 knots. But the turn time isn't that great with 6.3 seconds. It's still not bad, but given that you really have to avoid getting shot at by pretty much everything, this is one of the really important measures. She has 7 guns, although the arrangement, as you can see, two of the frontal turrets are kind of next to the bridge, so they can't easily shoot broadsides into one direction. So usually you just get about 6 of them to bear at one point. So she's got basically the same guns as the Yubari. Same reload, same damage. She does have the 500mm torpedoes, which are much more common at this tier. She's got 8 of them, which is great. I love this ship, by the way. It's a great ship for the same reasons that the Yubari is a great ship. She has a 6.9 kilometer range with them. They do less damage, obviously, but there are more of them. And 39-second reload is just insane. So you can spam torpedoes with this thing like there's no tomorrow. The anti-aircraft armament in this cruiser is basically non-existent. And here comes the other part. Her surface detection on the base, before you start applying anything, is at 6.8 kilometers. Now you can get that down a little bit, but you look at your torpedo range, right? You can stealth fire for about 500 meters that before you pop into detection. So basically you can't. Even if you put camo on it and get the surface detection down a little bit, you don't get the surface detection modification upgrade at tier 4. So you basically can't stealth fire with this ship. You will have to ambush fire or get closer in to do anything with these torpedoes. So given how vulnerable she is, that makes a huge difference. So yeah, the Yubari tier 4 premium ship. Like I said, I think she's one of the more overpowered ships, especially if you know what you're doing and you know how to play light cruisers and you know how to play to her strength. You can totally dominate. So let's have a look at what kind of loadout I've got in her. If I can find her, that is. Somewhere in my tech tree. There we go. I've got for the equipment, I've got the main battery modification for rotation speed. And again, this is due to the playstyle. Japanese cruisers are notorious for the slow turret rotation and comes with a base rotation speed of 10 degrees per second. But given how much you need to turn around and wiggle and evade shots with this ship, because she can be one shot by a battleship salvo from full health to nothing without any problems. You get citadeled and that's it. So you got to dodge. And in that situation, you just want every kind of rotation speed that you can get. I've gone with the propulsion modification for acceleration as a secondary. So this is basically my destroyer setup. Normally for a light cruiser, I would go with a steering gear for getting a higher gear shift. But she's got a 4-second turn time to start with, so there's really no reason for that. And instead, I've got her spec'd out for speed. So in lower tier battles, you often find that that your team isn't really isn't really having an idea about the strategy and how to play the map. And oftentimes they just tend to cluster together, leaving one flank open, and then you need to zip around in maps on lower tiers and firefight. And say there's a group of enemy destroyers just going through the other flank and threatening your cup. So having the extra speed and acceleration is really, really helping. That's why also the third modification, I've gone again with speed and got an extra 5% max speed. For consumables, I'm running my standard destroyer set supplies. So surface detection down, the reload time reduced, and ship speed and ship traverse speed again. I could have gone with the extra anti-aircraft ammo, but you don't always see carriers, and the AA on the ship isn't that impressive to start with. So she's not an anti-aircraft cruiser, definitely not. It's good in a pinch if the carrier starts focusing you down, and this happens if you're in lower tiers and you have a reputation of some sorts, then you very, very quickly and you're in a premium ship, you quickly get focused down and you get the carrier to really pounce on you. So you can do some damage, but you don't want to be hit by anything with this. So I just generally try to avoid carriers in this ship. And for my commander skills, I've got the standard in tier 1 and 2, the torpedo alert and the torpedo protection system. Tier 3, I've decided not to go with preheating just because she is so quick to start with. That wouldn't have been a bad choice because you can really get into caps early with the ship in the beginning. But again, she is so quick that it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So I decided to go with the artillery maintenance get that little bit extra of main battery traverse speed in the beginning, until she gets damaged, which unfortunately she does quite a bit. So I've actually decided to go with the air defense expert, because I did have trouble with carriers trying to focus me down if they see me, and just focus their dive bomber and torpedo bombers on me, and I don't have I don't have any health to spare. So I could have gone with the victorious charge, but 1.5% of the 16,000 health that the Yubari has isn't very much. So in return, on the 5th tier, I went with the survivalist and got 15% HP recovered on the repair kit. So she's got a slightly better repair, and also the additional fire and flooding resistance, because again, you die very quickly in the ship if you can avoid it. So basically, from the whole layout and from my playstyle, I'd say I play her like a destroyer. I've got the historical camo for it, which increases the firing range of the main battery, which is good because she doesn't have all that much. It does buff the torpedo range and the traverse speed, and it still further reduces the surface detection. So if you're enjoying the ship, I can very much recommend getting the camo for it, because it plays to its strength, really. All right, that said, let's take her out for a spin and see how this goes. All right, we're playing on the North American server, and at this point in time, they're mostly bots actually on the other side. The bottom tier, we've got 3 battleships, a cruiser, and 2 destroyers. Well, let's see. We're playing Sand and Sea. This is not a map you're going to see very much on higher tiers, but it's a fairly common map on this tier. So we'll take the left flank, and we'll see what comes. The destroyers are not really a danger to us, because they're bot destroyers, so they won't really be using their torpedoes very much. But the battleships can pack a punch even if they're bots, and we've got to be a bit careful. So we're not actually going to take point. We're not going to use our speed boost initially, and just try to get some spotting out. I might actually start using our torpedoes. Oh, there's a destroyer, and we're spotted. So no more point in being quiet. Let's get the guns out. There's the enemy Furutaka. That's actually a player, so go watch out for him. And see that we could quickly deal with this destroyer here. Our ship's in the way, so we can't really get there. He'll have torpedoes out. Yeah, there they come. Yep, seen those. Let's get the turret swing around. And that should take care of the destroyer. Yep, there he goes. Okay, there's the Furutaka. It's probably going to reverse back in once the torpedoes are out. We get 2 hits in. That was decent. Let's see if we can focus him down quickly. And watch out that we're not getting too close to the battleships in the meantime. Okay, we're taking fire from the enemy battleships. This is not something we want to be doing. This is when we're going to use our speed boost and try to get out of here as quickly as we can, and give these ships somebody else to shoot at. And maybe get a torpedo round into him as we go. That's not so great. We just used our damage control. So we've got 3 fires burning now. The bot ships you'll find are using high explosives quite a bit with their main guns, but we got him. This is the power of these torpedoes. They can cause an enormous amount of damage. But now, of course, we need to kind of get out of here a little bit, because we lost a lot of health in this. And the carrier is focusing on us. So this is a good time to use the anti-aircraft cooldown. And we got really lucky. We didn't get another we didn't get another fire set because the damage control is still on cooldown. So let's take care of this this New York over here and get a bit closer, because bot ships are very good at dodging torpedoes. And as you can see, the firing arc of the torpedoes isn't great. Let's get them out. And watch out with the Furutaka. Yep. It's time to get out of here, because he'll have torpedoes out as well. And that's a very dangerous ship, so we don't want to get too close to him. Let's see, maybe we can set him on fire. But we'll play Ring Around the Rosies with him until our torpedoes are reloaded back up. And in the meantime, while he's preying on that battleship, we make our way up further and see if we can do something about the other. Do something about the other player. Yeah, he sent torpedoes after me. He was definitely thinking that I was going to come his way. There's a Wyoming and there's a Hosho. So we got a tempting target here. The Hosho getting shot at is actually starting to move. Let's see if we can get some fires onto him. Oh, and he's dead. So that just leaves the Wyoming. And he's in a fight with our Kaiser, so we're just going to get close to him here. See if we can set a fire. Let's assume that he's concentrating on the other ship and just send some torpedoes his way. Oh, he sunk the Kaiser. Okay, so now we're going to have his attention. Let's use our repair kit in anticipation of being shot at. He's turning out, but I don't think he's going to dodge these torpedoes. Yeah, that hurt. So now we're going to dance around a little bit and make sure that we're not getting hit by these massive battleship guns. He's reversing still. You can see it at the smokestack. The smoke's pointing forward, so the ship's actually going backwards. And I'm just doing full-on turns here to throw off, change speed, change direction, change course to throw off his aim. And he's starting to go forward. Torpedoes are back up. So let's see if we can get another shot off. There comes his secondaries. Torpedoes out. There come his main guns, and that hurt. We got really lucky here. He could have just totally one-shot us here. Actually, at this point, we maybe just want to turn around and see if we can get out. But the torpedoes should hit, and the battle's almost over. Okay, 2 torpedo hits, he's flooding. And we got him last second. And that was the battle. And this is the amount of damage you can do in a Yubari. Even against, even if you're bottom tier, even against tier 5 ships, this thing packs a serious punch. So let's have a quick look and see how the battle went. We did over 50,000 damage with our torpedoes. I mean, we did 80,000 damage in total. I'm hard pressed to do that in higher tiers, but this is a tier 4 ship. We got 16 torpedo hits in. We still got a really decent amount of damage done with the main guns, just with the high explosive shells, and that got us the MVP. And I think we very much dominated this game. This is the kind of thing you can do with this ship. It's fast. It's absolutely deadly with its 600mm torpedoes. And even if you're in a close range knife fight with a battleship, she turns quickly enough that that you can dodge a lot of shots, and if you get lucky, not get citadeled, you can really make a difference and carry a team in this thing. So yeah, all in all, I think this is a really great ship. And if you want to invest into a premium ship, this is one of the lower tier ones. It's one of the cheaper ones. And if you know a little bit of what you're doing, you can have amazing games like this in this ship. Probably the only other ship that I found, that premium ship that was really very heavily overpowered, is the American tier 4, the Arkansas. But we'll talk about her in another time, because that's it for today. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Bye.